All right. Greetings and welcome back once again. This is Amina. I pray everybody is doing well. If you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you're not new, you don't know. I see True Diamond is in the spot early. Welcome to the conversation. It's been a long day, y'all. Ended up having to go to. Yes, some of us can't operate without the drama. That's kind of what I wanted to talk to about, a little drama. And the addiction to the drama and how it can just suck you in, right? And then, you need more and more of it to feel fulfilled, you know what I mean? And then normalcy becomes what we classify as boredom, and dysfunction becomes normal. So I'm lagging a little bit. I realized that my neck was a little stiff, and every time I started doing exercise, my sciatic nerves. So I decided to go to the chiropractor, of which, boy, I have to do a lot of research on the stuff they just gave me back, but I'm going to start some chiropractic work, see if we can get that thing right. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody's over there doing my neck, my back. Yeah, everybody doing the neck and back challenge. You got to make sure your neck and back is good. You understand? But, yeah, I wanted to read something briefly as it relates to social media addiction. I read a lot, but recently I haven't been reading because I need kind of a quiet environment to read. So I haven't been reading, and I also noticed that the words is dancing a little. I'm like, let me find out I'm getting up there. The words feel like they dancing a little. And then the other day I looked at my YouTube and I was like, whoa, wait a minute, this is a lot of YouTube, and then I realized, okay, I'm leaning too heavy. I got to ease off this YouTube. So I ain't watching no YouTube today, because they're making YouTube now where it's the suggestion, but they do have a mechanism. If you watch too long, they'll be like, hey, they'll just pause your video and be like, take a break. So I've been studying a specific topic, and I noticed whether it's reading, whatever it is, Watching, when I start to study a topic, I get kind of engulfed in it. And that's what was happening. And I'm like, yo, I don't care how much studying I'm doing. I need to back up off this a little bit. And because it was an interesting topic to me as it related to relationships and karmic debt, and as some people would say, karma, and just learning the things I'm learning as I'm retracing my family history, and seeing how certain patterns repeat themselves. I got a little bit consumed. I was like, whoa, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. I was looking back through the history. I'm like, all right, this is, nah, I'm doing too much. And I'm the type of person, I don't like to be addicted to anything. Ever since if I feel like I'm leaning too hard on something, I'll fall back, right? So I said this is an interesting conversation, because some of the channels, a lot of the channels, and the appetite of the people, as we spoke about in times past, is building an addiction. This is why people burn out as content creators, because you cannot keep up with the desire. So when people first come out, even with some of these cooking channels, and then I'm gonna read the article, give some people some time to come in. Even with some of these cooking channels, I remember one girl. I remember when she came on scene. Her name was oh, what's her name? Veggie Rose. Her name was Veggie Rose, right? So she was a small YouTuber. She had a few thousand people, and she came on the scene. But when we come on the scene in the beginning as content creator, whether you're blogging, whether you're an entrepreneur, sometimes you don't pace yourself, right? You're like, yeah, what I could do is produce 3 videos a week and da da da, not realizing that shooting, staging, all of the planning, then the shooting, then the editing, right? By the time you're done, if you're doing not like live stream, that's why you notice now I do a lot of live streams, because it is what it is. But when I was doing pre-shot videos, merciful Father, that's a lot of work. And so this particular, she was doing good. And then she had one video that went viral. It blew up. And then the demand started coming more and more and more, until I was like, well, whatever happened? I ain't saying she fell all the way off, but what happened, what content creators do is they say, I'm rebranding, and they come back as something else. Mm-hmm. So I'm drinking some water. So social media addiction, whatever your drug of choice is, and if you could see this picture, it's kind of like, let me see if I can save this picture so y'all can see the picture. It's kind of like whatever your drug of choice is: Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, YouTube, Google Plus, Instagram. It really depends on, how the person likes to get their information. Do you like it in pictures? Do you like it in audio, video, visual? Let me see. Right? Hold on a second. So let's just get a little information in case we find ourselves in this space of just consuming too much. And we're like, wait a minute, what's going on with me? That's the way it's designed. They have hopefully you can still hear me. They have people who are behind the scenes who design. It must be a JPEG, a GIF file. Well, hold on. Let me see. Save image. Oh, no. Hold on 1 second. JPEG. Let me see if you saved it. If not, I'm gonna keep going. All right, it's coming up now. Here we go. All right, there we go. So this is the picture I'm looking at, whatever your drug of choice is, and it's talking about social media addiction. So as we know, or maybe we don't, in recent times, especially for younger children, they talk about the addictive quality of it. So similar to addictive drugs, social media content and likes can trigger the release of the pleasure chemical dopamine. Like, my favorite, person is on, or they dropped a new video. I noticed with my children, if it's a channel, if something that they're into, you do get that, they dropped a new video and they're excited. You would think you told them they were about to run up and down outside, which may explain why some people report feeling addicted to these platforms. And then after they have consumed, like for instance, when they found I introduced them to, it was Garfield. I introduced them to an older uh cartoon thing we used to watch, and they got all into it. You know what I mean? And then after that, like Garfield, I think they like Garfield as well. And then after they consumed enough, they're like, I'm done. I don't. So it loses its appeal, right? Some experts estimate up to 10% of people in the U.S. have social media addiction. That's a large number of people. But it's hard to put an approximate figure, as so many of us regularly engage with social media platforms. Up to 10%. If you wake up in the morning and the first thing you got to do is check your phone, you may have an addiction. If you go to the bathroom and hey, what's going on, India? If you go to the bathroom and you in there real long, wait after you use the bathroom, just sitting on the toilet scrolling, you may have an addiction, right? If you're at the table and you're eating, or somebody you know is at the table and they eating and they have the phone in their hand, you may have an addiction. These are all the ways you know you may have an. If before you go to sleep at night, you have to check everything that you already checked 100 times before you lay down, you may have an addiction. You know what I mean? If your phone battery is going to get low, right? And you start freaking out, not because you're concerned that somebody can't get to you or you need to use it, but because you were in the middle of whatever social media activity you was doing, you may have an addiction. Some media giants like Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok and YouTube pour billions of dollars into advertising. So I was just talking about, and hiring engineers that are paid to make content more addictive. These sites also track your activities, customizing your feed to show you posts you are most likely to look at and watch or comment on. Why? Can anybody tell us why they do this? Because the longer we're on the apps, is the more that they can sell the attention spans of the people to marketing. So it went from social media to monetizing your presence on social media, and therefore they need you to be on there longer, us to be on there, so that they can get ad revenue. So going over to Web3, as I've been looking into the NFT space, right? Engagement, more likelihood to see the information, more likelihood to see the product, to buy the product. So as I was learning and studying about the Web3 space, the thought is not necessarily that it's going to be less addicting. This is what I'm surmising. It's that the people who are benefiting from your being there is going to be the holders, as opposed to these big corporations like Facebook, TikTok, and all of these people. It's supposed to be supposedly the everyday person. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. So we are addicted to drama, and drama oftentimes, some people, many people are addicted to drama based on the gossip sites on this. Many people, or certain demographics more than others, are addicted to drama. Let's say that. According to some surveys from 2020, Americans are spending as much as 17 hours a day looking at a screen, and a good portion of this time is spent on social media. That's 17 hours a day. There's only 24 hours in a day. There's only 24 in the day, though. This thing is getting bad. This thing is getting bad. What I realize I do now is just listen while I'm driving and use it kind of as, if I want to listen to a documentary or listen to something that I'm studying, or just listen to what's going on in the world around us, like I was saying yesterday, I'll listen while I'm driving to and from. But when I'm looking at the watch history, I'm like, oh, okay, this may be, for me, for my comfortable space, it may be too much. But let me know your thoughts. It says, while kids, teens, and young people are the heaviest social media users, they live on it, especially that TikTok. That's why I call it TikTok, because all it do is it wastes your time. If you go from one video to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. And then the question is, sometimes I just got turned. When do we process all of the information that we're taking in? You could go from crying to laughing it makes you feel a little bit unstable, a little bit bipolar if you follow the emotions, the volatility of the internet, because from one space to the next, it's all of these different ranges of emotions, right? And at what point do you step away and process? Like the other day, I was watching I don't know if you see some of those channels where they go out and they help people, and people who are, they ask them, can you give me some, can you buy me some food, I'm hungry, or whatever it is, and it's a test of kindness, and then he gives them money. Well, in this one, the guy was so grateful, they helped clean him up, he got a job, and I was like, wow, it was so heartwarming, right? Next video, something ratchet. How do you how do you deal with that? Right? How do you go from the swings are too high and low? I gotta put down the phone because now you're just in one mode, and then boom, you're in another mode, and it makes you feel these these ranges of emotion at too much of a close space of time. It's destabilizing. That's the word I'm looking for. Where are we? It says while okay, active on at least one social media platform, many report having trouble limiting their time on them. Also, there are many people who report social media has a negative impact on their mental health. We just spoke about that, and their relationships, but continue to use it anyway, causing some experts to wonder whether it's possible to become addicted to social media. So, like I was saying, I have to get some of those videos. Some of these cheater videos, it's like they're addicted to they go into your messages, they go into your DMs, and I'm like, you have to not be conscious to just be, if you're doing something crazy, why are you leaving it there? Why is the phone, people have broken up over hearts. I'm like, this is a new world, because people are breaking up over hearts. Why did you like her picture? Why did you like her picture? Why did you put the eggplant emoji? Like, people, these young millennials and younger, they out here breaking up over emojis, y'all. They out here breaking up over hearts, fam. Because you hardy-eyed somebody picture. It's crazy when I listen to how the younger generation interfaces and communicates and relates to one another. It's all, most times, then not yet a metaverse, it's centered around social media. Did you see what I post? You hating because you didn't like my post. You like that. Why did you hardy eye your ex? Why are you still friends with them on social media? If you look at one of the places, look at the Twitter swindler. How did he meet these people? On social media. How did he swindle them? By putting a false narrative on social media. Like back in the day, you had to try a little bit harder because people could search you out in person. But now all you need is a phone, a computer, and you could do your thing. It's India says true, and the fact is, children, some adults don't know how to protect their energy and when to disengage. I agree. When to be like, all right, I had enough. You know what I mean? When to be like, okay, this is. It used to be the TV, and for a lot of young people, it was the video games. And I think for our generation, they groomed us with the video games because the video games, they became highly addictive too. I remember, okay, I'm gonna date myself now, but I remember when Mario came out, the Nintendo and the Sega Genesis, you're in there, at first it's like, oh, this is nice, and then you become so invested in it, like you gotta get Mario to the princess, you know what I mean? And you're on this game for hours and hours. That's how we used to be when we were younger, trying to beat this level, right? So that was the precursor to this experience right here, which is like 100 million times worse, I think, because there is another aspect. It's not just accomplishing a goal. There is the social aspect to it, which makes it oh so much dangerous, right? So, John, I don't know why every time, John, I don't got the energy. I don't know if you heard today. I had to go get my coat. I don't got the energy, John. I just don't got the energy today. And we I don't got the energy today. I'm just keep reading. I will keep reading. John not pulling me in today. According to, let me see where we are here. Let me jump down. This article is being read from Recovered. It deals with check it out. This site deals with addiction, substances, and treatment. Okay, and the article was read clinically reviewed by Haley Schaffer, a medical ED, and then all of these letters after her name. Okay, she's a licensed clinical mental health counselor, licensed. Come on, don't take me to another page now. The person who's reviewing this is licensed clinical addiction specialist and certified clinical supervisor working out of Raleigh, North Carolina. Okay, so this is who's reviewing this article. And now what happens in my article? Come on, go back. I say. It jumped in. It took away my article. Come on now. I went and clicked the ladies thing. Hold on. How do I go back? Hold on. I gotta pull it again. Oh, this thing is so different. My apologies, people. I pressed the lady and then my original article just disappeared on me. Okay, social media. All right, here we go. We're back. Aha. Just a little patience, just a little time. And you know who sometimes when I'm trying to get some information, the social media, oh, don't tell me the mosquitoes are coming. The some of the content creators that just talk really fast all the time, that stuff for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't take it. It's like I gotta turn it off because they're trying to stuff it all in there. But okay. Understand the popularity of social media platforms has intensified over the past decade. Many of us still use social media to connect, share content like videos and memes, read the news, or just to kill time. Some people even make successful careers out of social media, such as influencers. Platforms such as TikTok and Instagram are more popular amongst teens and young adults, whereas Facebook is generally used by all ages. Let me see. It may be difficult to see how something so seemingly harmless can turn into addiction. The truth is, mosquito, come on, sorry. If you hear random claps, that's me copying that mosquito. Um, it may be difficult to see how something so seemingly harmless can turn into an addiction. The truth is that, like other types of behavioral addictions, gambling, pornography, or sex, constant or excessive use of social media can have a harmful influence on the way your brain processes pleasure and reward. So we see that the tricks that people do for likes, for shares, for super chats, because it's hitting that dopamine, like you winning at the what do you call it, at Atlantic City or somewhere, like you in Vegas or somewhere. So they judge their value by how many likes you get or you don't get, right? Similar to addictive drugs, social media content and likes can trigger the release of pleasure chemicals, dopamine, which may explain why some people report feeling addicted to these platforms. I'm just going to read a few more. One of the hallmark signs of addiction is continuing to use something even after it has clearly had negative impacts on your physical or mental health, relationships, work, or other important areas of life. Like you don't go to sleep. You watching YouTube to the wee hours of the morning. You on Facebook. You on Twitter. You know what I mean. You're not eating. You're late to things. If that means there's some level, no, there's some level of addiction going on there. Now, I ain't get that bad. Like 10 o'clock, I'm asleep, right? But during the day, as I'm driving, like I said, I'm like, okay, maybe I'm listening to too much YouTube. What do you think? More and more people are reporting that heavy social media use has a negative impact on their relationships, self-esteem, and makes them less productive at work or school, which is a red flag that may indicate addiction. It was like the other day, I was doing the class, and this young girl came in, and they wrote the Wi-Fi password on the board, but this was before I started. And she was like, ma'am, I can't get the Wi-Fi. I can't get the Wi-Fi. Help me to get the Wi-Fi. I'm like, what you gonna get on the Wi-Fi and do? Did you come here to get on the Wi-Fi? Or you know what I mean? It's that like that urgency. Go back inside. That urgency. And I was like, okay, yeah, even the young children, the parents leave them with the phone, leave them with the computer. You know, even mine, when I see them, that's why somebody I know right now is when I see it, even in my own children becoming too much, you'll see me I'll just pull it. I'll just take it. They're looking at me. I'm like, nah. You got to find something else to do. Some experts estimate up to 10% of people in the United States. We already read that. So let's just read a little bit about why it's so addictive. And let me know your thoughts. If you've had this experience. What? John, like I said, I'm not in the mood today. John come with more blame than answers, ain't it? Blame more. If you have more blame than answers, there's something going on here, right? Single mothers are the engineers behind Facebook. Single mothers are the tech. They run in the tech world. John, take your behind to sleep and do some celery juice detox. Nah, man. No, I am gonna detox, but I don't have no energy because every day John come with more problems than answers. We appreciate it, but people are addicted, whether they're in families, whether they're single mothers. This whole blame it on the single mother thing is old, John. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Hold on, peoples. 1 second. We can't blame the single mothers for everything, dear. True, darling. Let me go back and read so we can edify ourselves. I come with solutions. If every day, that's what I'm saying. Some, and I wanted to talk about, but I wanted to preface our addictions as a cultural people group later on. But I first wanted to talk about general addictions, right? People have for millennia been addicted to substances. Hold on 1 second. Give me 1 second. I'm talking to my daughter. 1 second. They're trying me today. I wanted to talk about that because it's clear that we are addicted to the drama. We're addicted to the blame game. We're addicted to pointing fingers and not coming with any real tangible solutions. And that particular part of the conversation, I'm not addicted to. Like, I need some actionable solutions. Every day we can't show up and be like, it's this person's fault. It's this person's fault. If you know it's this person's fault, okay. If it's that person's fault, how did you get there? The single mother, we already went over all of the reasons why you're going to say she got there. And then people are going to not disagree. And so what do you do from here? Right? What do you do from here? So back to social media. Behavioral addictions have much the same effect on the brain as drugs and alcohol, which people have been addicted to. Men have been addicted to alcohol. Men have been, okay, let me ask you something. During Prohibition, it was all the women who was outside turning up, having hot girl summers and getting drunk, or was that men? Was the large majority of people who were out drinking for the need of the white people in society to urge the government to make a prohibition against alcohol, was that for women's behaviors or men's behaviors? One of the things that oftentimes historically men lean to, if for whatever one reason or another, is alcohol. So we could be pointing fingers all day long, like it's men's reason why blah 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 blah, in the same way John comes every day and be like it's the single mother's fault, but it's deeper than that. Hopefully we could walk away from this conversation understanding that it's more than what we're trying to make it is black or white. It's not. This is not a Michael Jackson song. And the same is no different for social media. For those who engage with social media apps on a regular basis, the process of scrolling and intaking images, posting and receiving positive affirmations from others and other stimuli create the chemical dopamine in the brain. Have you ever turned off, if you scroll, that's why I can't do really Instagram too much. If you scroll pictures and pictures and pictures, you ever stop scrolling and then you close your eyes and you still see the pictures and that stuff scrolling in your eyes, even though you've closed your eyes? It's too much. It's overloading the brain. For me anyway, maybe I'm hypersensitive. It's just too much information coming in. Um, and not enough processing, right? So where are we? For those who engage with social media apps on a regular basis, okay, I already said that, blah, blah, blah. Dopamine reacts with neurotransmitters and creates feelings of pleasure and reward, and causing the formation of addictive pathways in the brain that makes it hard to resist urges or stop behavior. So you scrolling, you on Facebook or you on YouTube, right? And you addicted to the drama. So you might see how to better your life, Think and Grow Rich, the science of breaking the habit of being yourself. You may see all of that, but it doesn't appeal because it's not drama. It's not talking about some celebrity or some YouTube, blogger or somebody's life or some, if you're addicted to the negativity, then this is why oftentimes a lot of YouTubers realize that their negative content gets more hits. So like going back to what I said yesterday, if the negative content gets more hits, then even though it may not be who they are, they tend to lean towards the negativity because that's how they pay their bills. So now it becomes this endless trap that you can't really get out of unless you go look for another place of employment. Like on YouTube, they have, like right now I'm listening to not breaking the habit of being self. I'm listening to Think and Grow Rich. It's an older book written in the early 1900s. So some of the stuff now I listen to is audiobooks because I don't have as much time as I used to read. So as I'm driving, I'm listening to audiobooks, right? Audiobooks like The Richest Man in Babylon is talking about money principles and self-improvement. So it has its beautiful spaces, but for those who use it for the other side, it becomes very dangerous, a dangerous place to be, right? So you just have to be woke and aware. But let me continue. John, wait, you're jumping around. Are we talking about the effects of social media on the mind as it pertains to mental health or what? All of that. Because all of that. People are addicted to drama, as I believe most people's lives are boring. And no, I mean, social media effects on the mind is speaking to, because I'm tying them together, the addiction towards drama. Addicting to chaos is the maladaptive way in which we manifest our addiction. But addiction is addiction. Doesn't matter what you're addicted to. So this is why I'm talking about the baseline addiction and what it's dealing with, and then we can use it and put it anywhere we want, because then now we're coming from the same space, if that makes sense. Queen T, welcome to the conversation. So this is why even in the packet, it can be anything. It could be social media, it could be drugs, it could be the club, it can be, whatever it is the person is addicted to. So if we understand the way addiction works, then we can work from there. So it's not really either or. But I am reading an article talking about social media addiction. Look at John trying to stay on topic. Mr. having a hard time staying on topic, trying to be like, Abuda, are you on topic? That was nice. I like that. Where are we? The more you engage with social media and receive the rewarding dopamine hit it creates, the more your brain will seek it out to get another hit. This can lead to people using social media for longer periods of time in order to get the same feeling. So that's like a drug addict, that first hit. And then after that, you got to do more to feel that same way. This leads to tolerance forming, where the required level of stimuli needed in the case social media to get the same dopamine reaction increases. This tolerance can lead to dependence, where the user needs interaction with social media in order to feel normal. Like, oh, I didn't check my phone today. Oh, I didn't such and such today. You begin to feel, you go back into the real world. This is why I keep telling people in the Web3 space, I'm a big proponent of, even though it's small over there right now and it's growing, is that how does this tie back to the real world. Because, you know, who's going to jump into the matrix and never come back to reality? You know what I mean? And I don't know if this is also a dated movie, because they were like, what movie was that? I was like, have y'all never seen the movie The Net? Who remembers that movie? The Net, that whole movie is about Web 3 to a certain degree, when it was Web 1 at the time, but getting so consumed with everything online that you forget to live in real life. No, I'm not down with that. Anyway, if left unchecked, the negative aspects of this dependence can lead to addiction forming. Social media is in most cases free, readily available on modern devices, and culturally accepted and integrated into society. This means that people can spend excessive amounts of time and energy on social media apps without being scrutinized or questioned. And unlike many drugs, people usually don't get in trouble for spending too much time on Facebook or TikTok. And do you know, according to statistics, we know we have some people who love statistics. According to statistics, let me get the actual stat. What demographic of people spends the most time watching TV and the most time on social media? Can we guess? Can we guess? I'm gonna get the statistics so I don't people. Hold on one second. Let me get the stat. I remember coming across it before. Hold on. So even if you're using it for good, it could be too much. You know what I mean? Even if you're like, hey man, I'm researching, and you ain't getting outside, you're not. It can still be too much. Hold on, where did it go? I think it's on Statista. Hold on. But the large majority is melanated people. Status. That's what the statistics said. Let me see. About to try to pull it up again. Yeah, let me get a commercial in the meantime. Yeah, John. I hope you're over there thumbsing up the video. And for those who've joined us, I hope you're over there liking and thumbsing up the video. We got Queen T in the house, so I'm gonna play a Queen T commercial and I'll be right back. Is the commercial playing? So shout out to Queen T. Her company is The Love of People, and go ahead over to their website and definitely check it out. They have natural hair care products. Maybe she wants to come up and speak a little bit more about it, and you can definitely do that. Let me put the link in the description. Oh, you meant racial demographic, but yes, true. Black people boost up social media and make it popular. Yeah, and that's why you saw the TikTokers a few months ago. They stopped. They tried to go on a strike because there was too much appropriating of melanated culture, and not and the European TikTokers were going famous, and the black TikTokers, nothing was happening for them. So they was in their feelings. Social media uses. Let me look at this. But in the meantime, let me see what's going on here. So how does this relate to how we, the people, are addicted to drama? When we have characters who are charismatic, who are loud, who are boisterous, who are characters. Basically, we like that kind of stuff. Like if the person is sober-minded and maybe they have a different kind of sense of humor, we may think the person is dry, and you know what I mean. Yes, we have 16% off on the Sweet 16 sale, so definitely go ahead and check it out. I'm gonna play the commercial in a little bit. But when we oftentimes we gravitate towards people who are over the top, depending, right? Because even if you don't like them and they're loud and boisterous, you watch them because they're loud and boisterous, so that you can complain about how loud and boisterous they are. I might have to come back with those stats, right? So for one reason, love them or hate them, you watch them, and then boost the numbers, which encourages more people to come and watch, and the drama never stops. The YouTube, if you watch how some of the YouTube personalities get down, first they come on YouTube or whatever it is, then they decide to collaborate, and then they get into a fight, and then they start making all these videos about each other, and then I'm like, what in the world? What is wrong? What's wrong? What is wrong? Addicted to the drama. Addicted to the drama. Bad relationship practices. I'll keep saying it. I used to say it. I had taken a break, but I'm back to saying it again. We have a problem relating as a whole to one another because of the injury that resides within ourselves. We do a lot of projection. We have intolerance, a lot of intolerance for people who look like us. So for instance, if it's a melanated person running a business and they mess up, oh, it's a scam. I knew it. But if it's another big corporation who messes up, oh, okay, I totally understand. So the way in which we relate to one another shows that we don't, somebody's coming along, oh, I don't really trust what they're doing. Even if they deliver, oh, it's a scam. And then the people who come to scam you, oh, it's not a scam. You just got to be patient. Drama. What are the downsides of social media addiction? I'm gonna just read some of these things off. Low self-esteem, comparing yourself to others. Oh, I don't have that camera. Oh, I don't have that outfit. Oh, I don't have that car. Oh, I don't have that house. So it's like a big game of show and tell, right? Except for Pinterest. Pinterest is very interesting. They give all of these great ideas, and LinkedIn as well. Maybe you go to certain places for certain things, but the ones that are more geared towards social, I find them to be more dangerous and damaging, because places like LinkedIn or Pinterest, you go to these places for ideas, and even though I don't spend a whole lot of time over there, I think it has its value. Increase isolation and loneliness. I've seen people in the same room with each other sending each other messages on social media about how great their life is while not talking to each other as they're in the same room. I thought that was weird. I'm like, what is going on? True Diamond says bad for her nerves. For real. Sometimes I'll be like, man, it's the same. I was resistant. I remember it was 2009. I was like, I'm not going on that stuff, because I remember MySpace. Whoever remembers MySpace. And MySpace was coming along. And then I left the country. When I came back, people was like, no, we don't do MySpace no more. We do Facebook. I was like, Facebook? Ain't nobody going on no Facebook. So I resisted for a long time to go on Facebook. Now, people have been on Facebook longer than they've been at their job, including me. Well, not my job as a mother, but and the level of stagnation, unless you get into a new people group, because oftentimes it's built around those who you know on your personal page. It's just the same stuff all the time. I'm like, bruh, what? And then you have people who watch you, and then they say nothing to you on social media, but then when they see you in person, they know your whole business. You're like, wait a minute. So it's just a weird place. FOMO, fear of missing out, anxiety or depression or both, right? Social anxiety and embarrassment. These are the negative effects of social media. This sounds like, high school. It sounds like junior high school. It sounds like work environment. But in social media, it is amplified, especially in places where there's anonymity, because somebody can just be downright nasty and not have to show their face. So you have kind of like this unfair advantage, and a lot of people are not able to do. Exposure to negative people, just spoke about it, trolls or bullies, disrupted sleep patterns when using at night, because of the effects of blue light. And so I'm like, turn it off, go to sleep. Oh yeah, gotta sleep. Decreased physical activity, right? Which affects your overall health. Don't want to go for a walk. Don't want to eat healthy. Don't want to get up. Just just poor academic performance if you're in school. Depressive symptoms. Ignoring the relationships in real life, like I just spoke about. I've seen this. Like real life. In real life, you pretend. In real life, you don't treat your children well or your spouse well or your neighbors well. But on social media, you know what I mean? You the humanitarian of the world year award. It's like, what? That's not how this person is in real life. They playing games. Reduce ability to empathize with others, because again, you see so much. You see this sadness, and this person got hurt, and that person got ran over by a reindeer, and this happened. You've seen so much, it desensitizes you, kind of like those video games with these young children, and even older people. It desensitizes you, and we think it's harmless. It's not. It's not, because your body doesn't know the difference between what it's experiencing virtually versus what it's experiencing in real life, right? So a lot of these exposures are harmful. Reduce ability, oh, I already read that. Exposure to fake news and misinformation, ain't that the truth? Developing, social media didn't do that, the major news networks did that. Developing more extreme views because of one-sided customized content. And that's also a problem, because they just keep feeding you the same thing. And so when you have conversations with people who don't venture outside of their thought process, whatever CNN told them or whatever this news network told them, then that's the only way they see the world, right? And it becomes dangerous when they act on that and they're not willing to have conversations to say, wow, I didn't know that. I didn't see the other side. So that's kind of also what this environment is creating. That's not only in social media, that's in our relationships. If you don't want to like a person, you're only going to lean to the negativity of what you think that person is about. Or if you do like a person, you're going to blind your eye to all of the other things that may be questionable because you like that person. It's called confirmation bias. Yeah. Feeling withdrawal symptoms when not using social media, websites. Oh my goodness, I wonder what happened. What did I miss? Da 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 da. It's even, you may be addicted to, maybe some people just watch and they never comment, but they're addicted to the newest drama that's going on. And when you miss a few episodes, you feel like you're out of touch, right? Let me come over here and see what you guys are saying. True Diamond, you had a shout out to all the people who have MySpace. And guess what? I used to minister on MySpace too. It's funny because I used to write that when I was in New York them times, in MySpace times. I used to minister on MySpace. I used to give the word of the day on MySpace. There's people who were like, yo, I remember you from MySpace. Like I always thought social media for me was an opportunity to do good, to shed light, to hope, have these enlightening conversations. So even if you go back to my MySpace page, what was my MySpace page anyway? I was writing more so than videos. I didn't get comfortable with videos till a little further into my YouTube career. Like I was like, nah, I'm not going on video. But yeah, definitely. Let me see here. Let me see what John over here is saying now. They're trying to say, who's they? Tariq Nasheed is going to steal the Hidden History Museum money he raised, but the Asians are colonizing Africa, and they ain't saying that. I mean, it's rare moments when I have to agree with John, but one thing I could say, even though Tariq is a questionable person on one side, from what I've seen publicly, for instance, in the Hidden Colors series, if he says he's going to do the thing, from what I have observed, and if anybody has anything else, let me know. But from what I've observed, if he says, I'm going to produce 1804, he produces 1804. You know what I mean? If he says, I'm going to do another Hidden Colors thing, he does another Hidden Colors thing. So I can't even, that's why I said I'm not partial. If somebody's right, they right. If they wrong, they wrong. So yesterday I was like, yo, he wrong because he be causing dissension too. But on the other side, from what I have seen, is when he said he was going to do the FBA conference. I don't know, people were complaining about the conditions of the conference, but he did it. So he's not necessarily the Umar who will keep saying, I'm going to do it, and it doesn't come to pass. But definitely, if it's somebody of color, oftentimes who says they want to do something, the people are they're less inclined. They do it with apprehension, and for some good reason. We ain't going to front like there's not good reason sometimes to be like, yo, are you really going to do this? But the problem for me comes in when the person is solid and then the people don't support the solid people. And then they support the people like Polite, who is questionable, who has been questionable, and they still keep giving him these large sums of money that, today he's still trying to get money. How, this is what you call bold. This dude is out here still trying to get money. Where are we living at? I don't know. But yes, the Asians are colonizing Africa. Actually, over a decade ago when I was there is when I saw them started coming in. They was at the embassy. That I'm like, where are they going? And they started building roads, saying, I'm gonna build your bridge. And they did the same thing to Jamaica. Same thing to Jamaica. And same thing to certain places. Whoever lets them in, it's called soft power. Whoever lets them in, that's how it happens. What I did find interesting is that the same thing that they did when they go into the continent or when they go into other places and say, I'm going to build you this and that, they get their own contractors. So they go back to China, get Chinese people to come and do the job. As I was doing this Panama Canal research, which I'm going to come and bring, there was a article that came up in one of the documentaries where FDR was saying the same exact thing. So I realized sometimes that America doesn't like to see when other people are doing the same things that America once did. So in this particular, when they, and I need to do more research, but as I said, I'm going to take a little bit of a break because I get a little addicted to research. But when FDR says, okay, he says, okay, we want to build this canal. Colombia is like, nah. You can't come over here and build a canal because it's my land. And they was like, okay, we just going to help Panama, get the independence. So Panama is like, yeah, it's true. We want our independence. So America's like, yeah, now you owe me Panama. Now I want this little slip of land right here. Anywho, America gets the slip of land, and then they print big in the paper of that time, like they started in 1904. They was like, no, no foreign contractors. So the same thing that China is doing when they go into somebody else's land and build and make sure they fatten their own pockets. So one of the questions or one of the paper trails I have to follow is, who provided all of that steel? Who provided all of that concrete? Where was these raw materials coming from? Nowhere but America, because this Panama Canal put America on the map to begin to contend as a world superpower. And it is even said that when it was finished in 1914, that's when the World War I kicked off. So America's like, yo, I'm not trying to get into no war, bruh. We just finished, building a shortcut that people have been talking about for 400 years. So I find it very interesting that when someone else does the very thing that they do, and how do we know? When the leader of Colombia, what happened was FDR, he came up. I know I'm deviating, so y'all just rock with me for a second, because when the reporters kept pressing him like, yo, how did y'all get access to that strip of land? This sounds weird. So when it was found out that they helped Panama, the revolution, it only lasted a day and they were deemed independent, but FDR slipped up and was like, yeah, I took the isthmus, or I took that strip of land for the Panama Canal. And when the Colombian government heard that, they was like, oh word, you meddling? So they sued him for $24 million and got it. Sued America because America interfered in foreign affairs. So there's nothing new under the sun. I said all of that in relation to the comment that John made, and I would have to agree that about the Chinese people being trusting that the Chinese are going to do what they say they're going to do. But yet still, when we say, you know what, we want to do something, it's like, I don't know, I'm unsure. Are you sure you know what you're doing? Even if the person has all the credentials in the world, you'd be like, I'm unsure. But somebody else shows up and they have no credentials. You're like, yeah, I'm going to give you. And that's part of the injury. That's my point. I said what I said. It's part of the injury that we have to be honest about. The white man's ice is colder. That's what the saying was, right? I'm not going to stay long today. Let's see. I was apprehensive as well. I joined Facebook maybe 6 years ago and have been inactive over there for the last two. It's just too phony. You can't possibly really care about all those people. Yo, some of the people them you know in real life, yeah. And at first, that's what I did it for, because the people, I did it really because I think I was still overseas when I went on, and you were able to connect with people without having. We didn't have WhatsApp, so you without having that long distance call. And then it began to evolve, and it just, as everything does, it became something else. Everybody does to a degree, yeah. Confirmation bias to the degree, I would say yes. Yeah, he's a doer. I would have to say that about him. He's a doer. So you can't take that away from somebody. If the person is still off on one side, just because you off on one side don't means that I'm gonna take away from the fact that you a doer. You say you're gonna do it, you do it. I mean, you gotta give credit where credit is due, and talk the truth when it needs to be said. I heard about that, Queen T. My mother actually was just telling me about the beach that Jamaicans are not allowed to go on. I heard about that. Yo, they doing the most. Oh, wait, we got you Diamond in the spot. My apologies. Hold on, let me let you come through. Welcome to the conversation.
Hey, Muna, how are you today?
What's going on, sis?
Oh, nothing much. Well, you were kind of just reading my mind, but you went in with the social media aspect, but it all plays a role. And I had actually
Mhm.
I was telling my kids about CNN going on the biblical aspect or the biblical side of it. The Bible talks about being busybodies. I tie a lot of what's going on 17 hours in a 24-hour day.
Yes. Can you imagine?
Are you even sleeping, or when you sleeping you're really not sleeping because you probably logging in and clicking and scrolling because that's not enough rest.
That's
But
crazy.
I've known people that sit around and watch CNN all day, nothing against CNN if that's your choice, or Fox News, and then they get all in their feelings and it's affecting their whole day, or their whole
Mm-hmm.
day have left from them. They carried what they see on CNN into their workplaces. I know a family right now where two brothers are like not even talking because one is a Republican and one is a Democrat. You don't think that those things or how they feel about each other is impacted on what's on media and social media? Of
Yeah.
course. That's
Yeah.
gonna affect them. But my experience is I don't, because I can't see the comment section or the chat about Facebook. People started calling it fake book, because it's like y'all are not even real. But when it got to the point where I got on it for the same reasons, your family on there, your friends, and some people I do
Right.
enjoy seeing their kids and things like that. But
Right.
if that's my only interaction with you, and I'm literally in the same town maybe with you, we
Same
got
town.
problems.
Same town.
Same town. And or like you said, same household.
Yep.
We got This is not going to work for me. I can't dwell in that type of interaction. I'd rather not have it at all,
Right,
because
because it's not
then
real.
it's not real. Funny story. A lady that I was in a program with, hadn't heard from her in a while, and she was putting on another program, and she texted me. And so we got to chatting and everything, and I was like, "Oh, girl, good to hear from you," or whatever. And she was like, "Listen, I'm not going to even beat around the bush." It's kind of funny thing about it again. She said, "I'm not going to even beat around the bush with you. Basically, I need you to do something." And
Oh,
and you know what? Yeah.
wow.
And I knew her from Facebook mainly, even though I had seen her in person, but I had not seen her in a while. It was the activity that she had did that I was involved in. So, but she cut straight. She cut straight because for me, what I've learned, and maybe you've experienced this with these conversations with these internet people, you don't know what angle they're coming from when they do finally interact with you. Just like you were saying about the Twitter man, something, I guess maybe he scammed some people or something. I don't know about that story, but you were
Oh, yeah,
saying,
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
okay, the guy, yeah, so
the Tinder swindler.
the Tinder, okay, I need to look
Yeah,
him
the
up.
guy who scammed that millions of pounds from them women. Yeah, yeah.
Woo! But he
Mhm.
he got in their profile. He knew what angle. he was coming from,
Yes.
but they didn't, because they're living
Right.
in in an existence that's not real. So
Mm.
how do you apply reality to something that's not real? It doesn't work. And so I saw a lot of these relationships. I'm just talking about just people you know every day and online, that was not genuine. It wasn't real. And for me, I
Mm.
can't dwell in that because I'm not fake. Only
Right.
the fake or the off can really dwell in that. And they seem to be, I'm not going to say they're happy, because you read the whole list of issues with
They
what's
ain't
going
happy.
on.
They're
Yeah,
not happy.
they
Yeah.
are, they are not happy. And I realize that. But it has become a problem, because me, some genres I would not even be interested in. Like, of course, because of what's happening with Kim K and Kanye, of course that's in
Hmm.
the forefront. You
Right.
did a series, I mean, not a series, but you
Right.
went over their situation. You went over their
Right.
situation. And so of course you're gonna get suggestions. You're gonna get, well, what happened with that? And then it just goes on and on and on. I'm thankful for myself that I can cut these things off easily, but that's not the case for every person. Every person has a different personality. They have, some people have what they call an addictive personality.
Yes. Let's talk
That
about
will,
it.
yes, that will affect them. Like my son, he had a phone at not at a young age. He was like 16, and he played games, every now and then, and looked at,
Hmm.
different anime he was into. I necessarily didn't approve of it, but it wasn't over the top. And I had warned him. I said, son, don't show this to your siblings, because just straight up, they have a different personality than you do. And so he was
Right.
showing them little things or whatever. And it was years later, he said, "Oh, mom, you were right." Something
See?
that is like, and you did mention that me and the kids were in here laughing when you were talking about that Super Mario Brother and Sega. Because
Yeah. We was big with the Super Mario boy. We was like the princess.
the princess. Listen, do you remember? Listen, this is how bad I was in Super Mario Brothers. You know that part that you had to jump over that long. It was a long gap. That one of that first big jumps you had to learn. Do you know I gave up on Super Mario Brothers after that first long jump? I think I think I was like, how? Look, I'm not gonna give away my age, but I would think I still was in elementary school. I gave up back then. Okay. I said,
Yo.
and I said to myself, without knowing I said this or why, that I said, I'm not going to spend my time trying to figure this out. I literally said that to myself. But everybody
Wow.
else was sitting up there, like you said, got to get the princess. I remember going over cousins' them house and friends' house, and they would just be sitting around playing it. And do you know, looking back,
Hmm.
some of those people are in their grave right now.
You see? That's why I said they was priming us. Our little
Yeah,
thumbs were like getting, hey, get off that thing. Put that thing back inside. Our little thumbs was getting calluses on there, but
yeah,
it was that. You're right, because you there playing it. India said with Super Mario 3. Yeah, I remember when one. I remember one. I remember two, and I remember three. Yoshi came out. You
yeah.
jumping over fire pits, swimming in water. It was crazy.
Yeah, but it didn't prepare us for reality. And right
No, it
now,
didn't.
yeah, a lot of those adults, I'm just saying from where I was, my town, they are still not prospering adults. It was only a
See?
few that came out and when I say prospering, meaning we're in America, we're not in a third world country where,
Right, right.
it's like rare, but in general, people can make it here and do okay. But most of them people didn't. They still struggling. They still scamming. They got scams going on, pyramid
Ah,
schemes. Some of them became fake preachers and just all kind of things to survive when it shouldn't have been that way. It shouldn't have been that way.
wow.
We should have been having a preparation for reality, but instead we have a preparation for something else, which is far, far, far from the truth. So this is the issue. I personally, my children are not allowed on that. I don't even have it. Like I said, I will deactivate Facebook in a true heartbeat. And it'll be so funny. Nobody will be looking for me or nothing like that. Like I literally have 100 something friends on there. I could have more, but when I opened up my Facebook, I had something that I stuck to. If I have never met you, I will not add you.
Well,
Like if I
and
have
and
never,
and that and that those type of spaces, I think has, even though some people, it has more authenticity to it
hmm
than before, when people just adding, and like I
yeah,
said, I always used social media because I was resistant at first to a place to share. Same
yeah,
like I do here. You know what I mean? So coming
yeah,
from that angle, you still sometimes get caught up in the madness, but
yeah,
you're like you said, oh wow, the child got bigger, but then you
yeah,
never see the person. What I realize, even people you do know, like you said, they won't pick up the phone and call. They
they
will
sure
now
don't.
use social media as the announcement. So
Yes,
there is no human connection. Even though you're seeing
yes,
more of people, you are
yes.
connecting less with people. And I'm like, well, this is weird. You know what I
Well,
mean? Like, oh, I sent you a DM. Like, what?
yes, because now it's a numbers game. It's a numbers
Yeah,
game and not a close interaction game. Most people
right.
don't even want you to get close to them like that
They don't want you to
because
call
they're
them.
messed up. Yeah, they're messed up. They have altars, and if you are living a certain lifestyle, let's say you're trying to follow some biblical principles, they
Right,
may not. So why would they want you around seeing what they
right.
doing or judging them or having something to say? So they're not gonna. I found that to be true, as
Wow.
well. So it's just a messed up situation. But for me too, when I said it gets on, it caused me to have a nervous problem. It does, and in some genres, this is what I'm noticing, that people who have pages on Facebook, they are bringing that drama over into the YouTube space, and they'll get on there and
Hmm.
they'll talk about things, and then they don't say a person name, but they can figure out, oh, which other YouTuber they're talking about. So it's like YouTube beef, and I said to myself, I don't even know these people, so why would I get involved in
Invested into it.
whatever they have going on? I will never know them. They will never know me. Probably don't want to know me. And I don't
Right,
want to
right.
live life like that. I don't
Yeah,
want to
it's
dwell
crazy.
in that space. It's not
It's crazy.
healthy. It's not
I
healthy.
almost didn't go to somebody I know event because they didn't pick up the phone. Like, I come from a
Wow.
pick up the phone generation. Like,
Yeah.
write a message, put it in the mail. Hey,
Yes.
such and such. So
Yes.
I can't
Definitely.
get down with this. I can't get down with this general. Um. Oh, didn't you see it on Facebook? Like, I'm just sitting there watching what you do all day. You know what I
Well,
mean? Like, nah, I ain't see it on Facebook. Like,
that's what I'm saying. It's a numbers game now. I've been to events where I'm there, but it's almost like I came, but I sense I have a feeling that they're looking at me like, why did I come? Or like, yeah, thanks for coming. So it's like, but you sent me the invitation. So what's really going on?
Wow.
I personally just got tired of dealing with it, and I really shut down from a lot of things. I mean, I have a few close friends that if I see them, we're cutting up, we're laughing. It's like the first day we ever met. And I have to have that genuineness in my life. Life is short.
Right.
Life is short. And
It
like you said,
is.
that's why people are suffering all of these things, because they're not experiencing genuine relationships. But I think,
Connection. Yeah.
yeah, that these connections, but like you said, we've been groomed. We've been groomed, for the Black community. We have been groomed. Even though we're close, we can be close. It can even be dysfunctional. So some of us
Mm.
are trying to come out of that dysfunction just to go online or go to other spaces that's social media based and still be in the dysfunction. So where does it end? You're still going to have time wasted, not preparing or not being put in healthy relationships and friendships in which you can grow over a lifetime. And
Right.
I'm telling you, in other groups, Imuna, I see it. I'm working
Crazy.
with people one on one. I'm looking in their homes, looking through their picture books, and I'm seeing pictures. I'm seeing where people have been friends from elementary, middle school, college, still to right now, because they're holding on to those times and that friendship. And it's not just through the eyes of social media.
Right.
That's not
Right.
reality. And it's actually
Eh,
making us weaker. It's tearing us down, not making us into a stronger people or
I
community.
think you're absolutely right. It's kind of like, it's kind of like the calculator. It makes things easier, but it also makes you not use your brain anymore, right? And I agree that. And you know what? When I was younger, when I used to go out, this is before social media. It was kind of before the selfie, but I had a friend who would always like take selfies while I'm like, why are you doing that? Like, if you're present, how do you have time to be doing what you're doing? You know what I mean? And so
well, have you going on the selfies? I think it's the guy. Look up the guy who helped create Facebook. I believe it was him. A couple of those guys came out and said how they didn't have a life because of Facebook or these social medias, and they actually got off of it. One of them was addicted to selfies. I mean, you're talking about top level millionaire guy, producing all of these things that we are on. They came out and said it's bad for your health. So that says a lot. And most people don't know Steve Jobs and all of these guys who create these phones and all these platforms. They don't even allow their children on it.
Children to use it. Yeah.
But we're on it.
I mean, and like I said, it has its benefits. It has its advantages. It's just to be aware. It's like, be aware, because if you tip the scale, you can quickly find yourself, especially, and that's what I realized in Web3 is that some of it is the geeks, quote unquote, the people who are socially awkward. So you can come into this space and be someone else, right? And not have to deal with your everyday reality. I'm like, that's not healthy either. Like, if you see me in the street, I'm still gonna be a Muna. If you hear me on the computer, I'm still gonna be a Muna. You know what I mean? But for some people, this becomes their personality, and I guess that's kind of what I'm speaking to, is the addiction to chaos, if that's what it is, the addiction to the dopamine, the addiction to connection. Like, some people could just be addicted to connecting, like, oh, I gotta connect. You know what I mean? And people feel, I think we lost True Diamond. People feel like I have to connect at all times, and sometimes we need to connect with ourselves. Let me pull it back up again. Sometimes we need to process what it is that we're hearing and see whether or not it gels with us, or whether or not we need to release that. You know what I mean? Because what I've noticed, just doing a number of shows over the years, hosting shows, facilitating conversations, I took a long break. As you can see by my YouTube history. I took a break because after a while, it's like, I got to process for myself. You know what I mean? But you're back up. Let me know your thoughts. And then we're going to wind down. What is it? 116. Let me see. Did I add her? Signal was lost. Okay, no problem. Thank you for coming through. So yeah, definitely, that's kind of my thoughts on that. Let me know yours. How are we dealing with it? How you deal with children? Like I said, my daughter, I'll say to her, hey man, you leaning. And when you could tell when it's something that's pulling the person in, because they start giving you attitude. If you say, hey, you drinking a little too much, and the person is in the club cutting up, they might be mad. Nah, I'm just fine. You know what I mean? Oh, you smoking a little bit too much weed? Oh, no, I can handle my own. Right? So when it's becoming something that's compulsive and you feel like you've lost control over it in the morning before you even pray or meditate or be still or drink water or go to the bathroom, you're like, oh, let me see. So some people say, put the phone in another room. You know what I mean? Put the phone in another room. And so therefore, when you in the morning, it's not the first thing that you see, because the morning sets our day, and we wake up sometimes, if that's what you do, and you're seeing somebody else's everything else, whatever it is they trying to put into your energy space first thing in the morning, whether we don't know what it is, because it's like a crapshoot. You know what I mean? Your first thing in the morning, you can see, oh, such and such died. What? Such and such died. Now your whole day jacked up. Because, you know what I mean, before you did anything, boop, you on the YouTube. And it says take all the apps off the phone. For some people, that's what it takes. Like I said, most of them is not a thing for me, but I do realize I've been doing a little too much research on YouTube. I'm like, whoa, what's all this? So yeah, we're gonna have to reel that back. Um, because that for me, I don't know if anybody else, but for me, it feels like a little too much. So yeah, I'll still come through and share my conversations with you. You're enjoying it, I'm enjoying it. Um, so I'm not gonna just disappear. But yeah, that's my thought. But I'm gonna play this video. Let me play Queen T's. I don't know if she's still here, but they have a her and her sister have a hair care line. So let's learn a little bit about the Lovers.
You done,
Hold on.
honey?
No, I'm not done it. Say hi to everybody.
Hi. I could tell. They gave me.
Wait, you're still on. You're still on. Wait, I'm not. I'm coming. They gave you back LA Extensions?
They gave me new social studies.
They,
It's very fun.
they gave you new social studies and it's fun? You hear what they think is fun? She got a new.
It is fun.
It's fun?
Yes, and it's better than the old one.
It's better than the old one. Yeah, some of the apps I disabled because I think you say your tinfoil hat believes you being tracked. I think it takes up too much space on my phone. Right. So my phone, it won't even let me take pictures anymore. So that's when I started going through crazy, like disabling and taking apps off because I'm like, I don't even use this stuff. What's going on, Judah? Yeah, and by the way, we have Sweet 16 sale over here at the Yummy Cottage for the syrup. So let me go ahead and play that commercial. Where did it go? All right, all right, all right. So we'll be back, most I willing, another day to have more of these pertinent discussions so that hopefully each one teach one and we help one another along this journey called life. With that said, thank everybody for tuning in. My name is Amuna. Like, subscribe, share, all that beautiful good stuff. And we'll talk to you again